was the first one. The x was squared, and the 4p is negative, which points this down. So I would do my vertex at 0, -3, and then I would count down, which means my parabola is going to open downward around that focus. The -4 equals 4p, so p is a -1. I go down 1, and that's my focus. I go up 1, and that's my directrix. So remember, focus is a coordinate point, 0, -4, and directrix is a line, y equals -2. How do we do on this one?
Can you zoom in on the graph?
Sure.
How to do this one.
We kind of forgot. That's what I'm worried about when we come back. Like, when we come back, we will review, but we won't reteach. So don't let yourself get so rusty that you have no idea what I'm talking about.
What's that green dot?
That's the focus. It's -4, 0, -4. Oops. All right, second one, this time the y is squared, so it's sideways, but it's a positive 16, which means it's a positive p, so it goes to the right. Vertex is at -3, 2. Remember, it's always what's after the x, not the one that necessarily comes first. Some of us mess that up. The 4p equals 16, so p equals 4, which means for my vertex, I'm going to go to the right 4 for the focus and go to the left 4 for the directrix. The right 4 means that my focus is at 1, 2, and left 4 means that my directrix is at x equals -7. Number 3, now we're flip-flopping. We're finding the equation. So the vertex is at -2, 3, and the focus is at -2, 5. That tells me it's a vertical and a positive 4p. The distance between the vertex and the focus is 2, so that makes p 2. And then I plug in my vertex, x plus 2 squared equals 4p, y minus 3. And then plug in 2 for p. And I get x plus 2 squared equals 8 times y minus 3.
Wait, where did you get like the numbers?
Which ones?
The 2 and the 3.
So that comes from your vertex. The opposite of what follows x, right? Because it's x minus a -2. And then the opposite of what follows y, so it's y minus 3.
Okay.
And then the p came from the graph. There was the distance of 2 between them. The next one, vertex is 1, -3, right 1, down 3. Directrix at x equals 3. This time it's horizontal, and the directrix is to the right. So remember, the parabola points away from the directrix, which would point this left. That makes it a y squared with a -4p. So it's y plus 3 squared equals -4p, x minus 1. Count the distance between the vertex and the directrix, and it's 2, so p is 2. And then I'd get y plus 3 squared equals -8x minus 1. Okay, then we got to ellipses. So this is graph it, find the center, the vertex, the covertices, and the foci. So my center comes from what's inside the parentheses, what's the opposite of what follows x, opposite of what follows y. So my center is 3, -2. The a squared is the bigger number, so the a squared is this 16, and it's under the x, which makes it horizontal. The b squared is the other number, which would be 4, which makes a 4 and b 2. So from my center, I went right and left the 4, and up and down the 2. Right and left the 4 means my vertices are -1, -2, and 7, -2. So right and left is my change, which means the x changes, not the y. The co-vertices, I go up and down the b. So again, now the x changes, I'm sorry, now the x stays the same, the y changes. And then c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So c is 2 root 3. And I add and subtract that from the x coordinate because the foci lies on the same axis as the major axis.
I'm still confused on how you get the foci.
So what, you know how to get c? It's just like how do you move it from there? So if it's horizontal, right, this one's horizontal, then wherever my vertex is, let's just say it's here, to find the focus, I go right and left, the C. So whatever my center is, I add and subtract it from the x coordinate of that, because the x, right? If it was vertical, the x stays the same, and I add and subtract it from the y.
I got confused because you put like plus or minus 2 or 3. You just did that because you can't actually like.
Yeah, you could separate those out, right? So I can make it 3 plus 2 root 3, negative 2, and 3 minus 2 root 3, negative 2. It's just that it doesn't simplify.
Actually do the math. Like if it was like 3 minus 2, you would actually do something
Correct.
like comma, negative.
Yep, so if c was a whole number, I'd actually add and subtract it, just like we do with the vertices. And the last one is the opposite. It gives you the information once the equation. So the vertex is 1, 3, and 1, negative 3. After you plot that, you already know it's vertical. You know your center is halfway between them, which would be 1, 0. And you know your A is 3.
If it's vertical, why is it not?
Because that's wrong. I'm so glad you caught that. This should be switched. Okay, it's vertical, which means the A should come under the X. So if the A is 3, no, under the Y, this should be 4 and this should be 9. Try that again, okay? And then remember, minor is 2b. So from there, I don't even have to graph anything else. I don't have to use c squared equals a squared minus b squared. That was enough information. You just plug it in. All right, folks, that was the bell. I wish you the happiest of holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.